obviously not at my house. I'm in California and it's raining. Right outside San Diego. And it's raining. So I love how the Arkansans come to California and it rains.
There you go. That's real life.
What, that I'm putting on my vlog when we all just woke up? Yep. That is real.
I still have my dentures in.
Natalie doesn't actually wear dentures. It's a retainer. People being like, she wears dentures?
They're all fake, baby.
So this morning I woke up, like, California's hard for me because I'm an early riser in the central time zone. And so I wake up at like 4 in the morning whenever I'm in California. And so I'm laying there and I'm listening to the rain. I'm like, why does it sound so different? And I'm listening to it and I'm like, oh, it's not hitting soil and grass. It's like when it rains at my house and I hear it out the window, it sounds completely different. And you can hear it hitting all of the
trash cans,
the concrete, and the houses.
Let's make it sound real romantic.
Like I had a house right next to where I was like, oh wow, that's weird. So the rain has stopped and I'm outside in what is a surprisingly chilly afternoon here in California. Come to Southern California and bring the rain and the cold weather with me. So I kind of wanted to give you guys some context as to what was going on here, and then we're going to go in the backyard and I want to show you some stuff. If you've been with me here on the vlog for very long at all, you have met two of my very dear friends, Jill, who has a channel, Whispering Willow Farm. She farms that for us a few weeks ago with her husband. And Natalie, who has a channel called Hey It's a Good Life. These two ladies are so, so precious to me and some of just the greatest encouragements in my life. Such wonderful friends. And Natalie and her husband Tommy are expecting their first baby. They're having a little girl here in just a few months. And Jill and I decided this summer that we were going to fly out here this fall just for a weekend and celebrate this baby coming. I was really proud of Jill because she's actually not a big fan of airplanes. So it was just kind of a funny thing. We got on the plane. She braved the travel. Of course, it's kind of a tumultuous time to be traveling, and many people are. And you just take precautions in doing that. But of course, being here, we're mostly just hanging out at the house. We did get to go to a beach yesterday. Walk along a beautiful beach, which for me is not something I've had the opportunity to do a whole lot of in my life. I've lived my whole life in a landlocked state, and it is so grounding and beautiful, and I just love getting to experience that part of the earth. So that was really, really beautiful. And today we are actually going to be helping Natalie a little bit with her garden. Oh no, the rain is starting again. So bizarre that it's raining. So Natalie is gardening in a neighborhood on a really small lot. Big lots and big pieces of property are just not the norm in this area of our country. And they have a really small lot with a little backyard, and she has really made the most of it because she has such a big dream of growing food. We actually share a very similar dream of having a center to teach and equip people to do regenerative farming. And Natalie, I've always pointed at her and pointed people to her as an incredible example of doing what you can where you are, because I think it's just so encouraging, because I know so many of you have a passion to grow food and a passion to locally source and to get your hands in the soil and to garden. You have like a big dream, but you feel hindered by the stage that you're in life. And to me, seeing people doing the most with the spaces they have is encouraging and empowering, and it's permission to go ahead and try and see what you can do with where you are. So it's raining again, which is just so wild. But I want to go out back, and we're going to help Natalie plant her garden. Jill and I are going to help her plant her garden while we're here. Do you have your seeds picked out?
I think so. I need the approval though. Like, I need to make sure that we're all on board with these. But yeah, I think so. We're gonna plant mostly like leafy greens and fall things, and maybe some beautiful radishes. Even though I don't necessarily love how they taste, I love how they look.
Give them to somebody.
That's right. So this is Natalie's backyard. So for context, it's really hard to share context on videos, but this lot is roughly the same size as my high tunnel. Like the whole lot, the house and everything is roughly the same size as my high tunnel. This may be just slightly wider than my high tunnel is. And I'm saying that because I know that many people watch my channel and it feels like completely like another level of endeavor than seems even remotely possible. Like many people have no desire to grow to the level that we grow. But that does not mean you can't grow to a very like effective level exactly where you are. So Natalie built these beds. She documented it all on her channel. And she actually built these on her own. Has a pretty substantial amount of growing space here in this small suburban backyard. She got them all cleaned out for us to come.
Julia.
Yeah.
Welcome to California. Brought you in a nice store.
So she's left her peppers in over here on this side because they're still producing. And got some oregano here. And here we have cucamelons still producing. As well as some nasturtium. Did you plant this nasturtium or did it reseed from the nasturtium you had here earlier?
Fruit from seed. I pulled it out, but then it volunteered.
Yeah, I volunteered.
Yeah.
So you got nasturtium growing alongside the.
This one is one of my favorites. This is the Black-Eyed Susan.
Yeah.
The vining variety, and it is so beautiful, and I love the way it feels. It's
Yeah.
soft.
That is really pretty. I was
Yeah.
noticing those flowers.
Yeah.
It's really pretty. All right, so what are your desires here?
I'm just excited to plant the garden with my friends. I was telling Jill earlier, like, I don't know that with everything I've had to learn between soil management and water, I don't know that I've ever had the garden like fully planted at the same time.
Yeah.
So to just knock this out with 3 people and like get it completely planted, I'm super excited for that.
Let's see. Are these beds over here your sunniest beds?
Kind of, yeah, probably like this one, and then this one gets afternoon sun.
Okay.
And then I call this my like microclimate bed because it's got like so much shade.
Right. So we're probably going to want to do the leafy greens over here.
Yeah.
Yeah. Okay. And I think because we are planting some frost tender things, since this is Southern California and a freeze is unlikely, but possible, it could get close to a freeze. We are going to plant some frost tender things, but we're going to plant them near one another so that if they do need to be covered, that can be done really simply. So what zone is this? 9? 10. So you can grow pretty much whatever the heck you want at any time of
Like
the year.
I think I could plant tomatoes. Like I could plant tomatoes and corn and it might actually grow.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, you probably could. The benefit of the fact that it rained, obviously rain is good for the garden, and we were going to do this yesterday, but after going and walking the beach, we were pretty wiped out, so we came back to rest, and it's the sunset really early, so we didn't get to plant it yesterday, and then it rained through the night, and so it was like, okay, well, we'll plant it today in the moist soil, and we won't have to water all these seeds in. So we're all making videos of this, so you can watch everybody's videos to get the full experience. And it's starting to rain again. We are planting this entire garden. We're just gonna fill the whole thing up because Natalie is pregnant. Like, she's getting to the quite pregnant stage.
Pregnant friend services to the rescue.
And the thing that she's dealt with, because she's dealt with a back injury, and she built these beds to be back friendly, but now they're just the right height to like be difficult to plant in pregnant. And so we were like, well, we'll help you get this done.
Yeah.
I wasn't gonna grow this kale along the edge, but then I just spilled those seeds there, so we're just gonna do that.
Kale grows good there, and chard. So something like here is kale.
Yeah. I'll just go for it. I like to do my roots, and this is just personal preference, but like I like to do, like instead of doing clumps, I like to do rows. So the way I have it in my greenhouse right now is I have like a row of rutabagas, a row of beets. It just, for me, it makes more sense when it comes to harvesting to start on one end of the row and go to the other. And if you wanted to replant at that point, you kind of just keep the row of things going. So if you wanted to like pull them out and put something else back in, you could. So. And the rain came tumbling down. Look at that. There's like water all over my camera. Well, we got 1.5 beds planted. I feel pretty good that we'll be able to finish it. Those seeds are all just laying in.
I was just gonna say, should I go and try and save the seed packets?
Yeah.
I got all of them that weren't in a plastic bag, like or in that container.
Even the ones laying on the beds?
Oh.
Yeah.
No, I don't think I grabbed.
If you ever accidentally leave seed packets laying out in the rain, ooh, golly, that's bright light. If you ever accidentally leave seed packets laying out in the rain and you need to dry them, just open the package, lay them out on a paper towel and let them dry, and then repackage them in a new envelope. If you find them quickly, like they're not ruined just because they got wet, you can dry them back out, but if they stay wet, they'll sprout or mold. It's the last morning of our very brief trip. I've been a terrible vlogger, but we are about to shoot a video for Natalie's channel about planting a garden, and then I'm going to talk to you guys a bit more about what's going on.
Oh, sorry.
Oh, you're okay. What happened? Does that lighting look okay?
Yeah, I think it looks good.
Yeah.
I showed you guys Natalie's space, and I've pointed you to both of these channels before because I think both of y'all are a really good example of making the most of where you are. Because Jill is market gardening in a pretty good sized space, but it's not massive.
Yeah.
I mean, like whenever you think of like a market garden, a lot of times you think of like a farm, a big farm.
Yeah.
And I would say that you guys have a small farm. I
Right.
mean, how much space do you have?
Like an acre and a half.
You have an acre and a half.
Yeah.
So, I mean, that's not like a massive place. And of course, Natalie's growing here in a suburban backyard, a small suburban backyard.
A concrete jungle of a backyard.
I'm a huge proponent for turning your waiting room into a classroom and just going to the full extent of stewarding what you have, either because that's where you are and you don't have any plans of leaving, so you might as well make the most of it, you know, do what you can there. You don't have to be limited. The other thing, if you have a big dream and you want something bigger, the lessons that you can learn even on a small scale, they convey. So like you can learn little lessons. So what I want to ask y'all is I'll start here since we're at your house and looking at your small space. Like, what kinds of lessons are you learning in this small space? Because I know you have a big dream.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, so we have a huge dream to have a regenerative farm and retreat center. And part of why we do what we do is to learn the lessons. And I have learned so many lessons from building. Mm-hmm. I built my first garden beds and I completely failed. I used non-coated screws, mm-hmm. and they completely fell apart in the Santa Ana winds. I remember walking out there not once but twice to a completely collapsed bed because the screws had rusted through, and I thought, oh my god, like why is this not working? And it was simply because I needed to change the type of screw I used. Mm-hmm. I've learned so much about woodworking. A big part of my channel is me doing it myself, simply because not because, you know, my husband's not interested. I mean, I'm more interested in the gardening thing, but I want to show people like you can do it if it's just you in a small space. I really enjoy it too. So I've learned a lot about building, using the right materials. I've learned a lot about dreaming. Like the story of my greenhouse, you guys know it, is like I really wanted a greenhouse, but we're renting in suburbia. We don't know where we're going to land yet. And so I got this vision of a greenhouse on wheels. And literally when I said yes to that and I partnered with that, the materials materialized on the side of the road.
Like you found them like driving home, and it's everything you needed, like the cuts down to the measurements that you needed.
Literally
so crazy.
Down to the measurements, exact amount of wood. Like all I needed to buy was the plastic siding and a little bit more hardware cloth. Yeah. And like that was basically it. And it's like, so it's taught me a lot about dreaming and actually saying yes and seeing where my yes will take me. I've talked about it with you guys this weekend of like, I never envisioned that saying yes to documenting our apartment to farm journey and like sharing the journey on YouTube would ever lead to friendships like this. Like, like truly, like I tell people, I'm like, say yes to your dreams because you never know where it's going to take you. Like, you think that your yes is like, oh yes, like I'm saying yes so that we can get to the regenerative farm and retreat center one day. But my life is so much richer
Yeah.
for having said yes to that. And I've learned a lot of practical lessons about soil, like, oh my gosh, growing in Southern California, like things get so dry so quickly. Drip line, you know, the practical things. I think the deeper lessons are just more so of like what your yes will do for your life.
That's so good.
Yeah.
You're so deep. Deep thinker. Yeah. What about you, Jill? What have you learned in this classroom of the stage for you?
Yeah, I think saying yes is a really big deal. And also just like learning. Like I thought when I started a garden that I knew a good bit, and then I'm like, no. I don't. Like our garden beds we built out of railroad ties that we got for free. And at the time I was like, oh yes, thank you, Lord. And still, yes, thank you. But it's like, no. Like I'm not growing railroad ties. Like I can never become certified organic or certified naturally grown. And knowing those things, like working through those kinks, and we talk about this a lot. Working through those kinks now in a small setting and in a small space. Before I always thought, oh, I want this, I want this, I want this. God, why am I here in this season? And realizing like he has me here for a reason because he's working out those kinks. And learning how to grow and raise beds and in-ground gardening and knowing what to grow and what does well. I've learned so much. I'm continuing to learn. There's a lot that I don't know. And I'm glad that I have my small acre and a half to figure that out on before we go to that next step. And I've got triple, you know, double, triple the growing space. Like he's allowing me to hone those things out now and work through those kinks. And it's just been really good trying to figure that out.
Yeah, I agree. I mean, that is my main reason why I'm always like, hey, where you are, start learning. Because wisdom doesn't spoil, like it just applies. And whenever you learn how a plant grows, when you learn what to do with it, when you learn how to manage soil, when you learn how to manage moisture, when you learn all of these different things, you learn how to get through, be resourceful, where to buy new things, where to reuse things. It's so important. And I love taking the opportunities to show my viewers people who have made the most of their classroom, because I think so many people watch channels like mine, like ours, that they're like, oh, but I can't because XYZ. And it's like, but actually, what can you do? Because if that dream is in your heart, it's valuable. Like if there is a desire and a drive there, like don't talk yourself out of that being valuable. It's valuable, and there is a way.
And even just like coming here, truly, you can grow a lot in your space. For me, that was mind-blowing because I see it online and I think, okay, you have these smaller beds. And then when I actually got here...
That's a lot of gardening space.
That's a lot of gardening space. And I don't know how long it took you to build those, but knowing like that's a very realistic, attainable thing to a lot of different people, no matter where you are.
Yeah, she did it herself.
I know, it's so impressive.
It only took me 2 months. And then I put it together in a video that was 6 minutes long. Made it look very convenient. No, but it can be done. Absolutely. Absolutely.
Well, thank y'all for sharing with my people. So I didn't get to actually show you just a ton because it keeps raining. I love that our experience of Southern California was with the fireplace and rainy days. Felt just like home. It stopped raining. We managed to get most of Natalie's garden planted. She'll have to come in and fill in some of the spaces, but it's mostly planted. And I'm really excited because now I get to watch it grow on her channel. That'll be pretty cool. I didn't get to shoot this earlier and really show you guys her space. She has like her little worm farm set up, and then this greenhouse which she built that's on wheels, so she'll be able to take it with her whenever she moves. So she has that for seed starting. And then of course her garden here, which it's hard to really give scale, but it's a pretty good sized growing space. I do feel like it's really important when I get the opportunity to share with you guys what someone's doing in a small space, because I do want you to be encouraged to try. So we are about to leave, go to the airport, travel home. Our live tonight will not be happening. I'm going to try to get this video up today so you guys can see it. Thank you for hanging out with me this weekend. It was such a refreshing time for me. Natalie and Jill are going to be putting videos up from the weekend as well, so you guys can check those out. I'm going to have to come back to Southern California when it's a little more, obviously when things are open, and also whenever it's sunny because it's rained most of the time. Oh, one more thing. You guys know what is so wild to me is just going around. This is Natalie's neighbor behind her. Just seeing citrus trees growing everywhere is so cool. Like the other night, we made dinner. Natalie made us Argentine food for dinner, and we just went outside and picked a lemon to go with our dinner, and like just picked a lemon to slice up and put in water, and they're so good fresh, and like fresh citrus is something that I've never experienced in the zone where I live because it doesn't grow there. So I just think that's really neat. But thank you guys for going on this adventure with me. Next time you see me, I'll be back home on my farm. I bless you. Until next time.